Hi David, this is Richard. I'll be presenting my project to you now. So the first thing I would like to show is I am using a AWS server running on Ubuntu with Node-RED installed on it. So I will show you the code now. So just for you to have an idea, a comparison between the first code and the one I have now. As you can see, this is the structure of the first one. You only had like some functions, variables, and imports. From the first submission to the new one, now I have turned the whole code into an OOP code. You can see here all the classes we have, all the functions, the variables, the imports. You can see here we start with a class sensor that defines a template to set the port and the number and mode for our sensors. Here we have a class responsible for controlling all the LEDs in the program. Then here we have the readings receiver that is responsible for the readings of all the sensors input modes. The next class is responsible for the buzzer sensor. All the code is well commented, so you can go through it and you can have an idea of what it's doing. Those are just the functions to connect, to publish, subscribe, which was pretty similar to the first one. There are a few changes. You can go through it later on. Also using some Linux commands here to switch off the Pi. You are also stopping the readings. The most challenging part of the whole project was to set the timer. Once the temperature would be too hot for 15 minutes, I would like the buzzer to go on, and I was having a problem because once the buzzer would, the temperature would get over that temperature, it would trigger the buzzer straight away, but I wanted it to stay between that temperature for 15 minutes and then trigger the buzzer. Here is the code to do that. For the demo, I'm just using 10 seconds because it would be too long to wait for 15 minutes. But before I submit the code, I will change the 10 for 900, which is the 15 minutes. This was the most challenging part of the whole code. It took me about 2 weeks to figure out how to make it work properly. I had to read a lot about Python OOP. I had a little bit of experience with Python before, but had never worked with OOP on Python. Had worked a little bit of OOP on Java before. I also show you here we are still using our MQTT broker, and here's our Node-RED. Can clean this one for now. And this is our dashboard where the user can switch it on, start getting all the readings, stop the readings, or switch the Pi off. Now I will head on to the Raspberry Pi and I will demo it all for you. Thank you. Hi David, I will be running through the code now. I will execute it to you. So let's start it. Here it is. It says it's ready to subscribe. So once we head back to our Node-RED, we can clean this. Once you hit the switch on, it will send the JSON publish true command and we start getting the readings. Give it just a second. There we go, those are the readings. If you head back to MQTT, you can see it got the publishing true in here. It's getting the readings as well. You don't need to use the topic and the message here anymore. You can get it all in here. Also, you can see that the user can see all the readings in here. It can also stop the sensors. I'll show you that in the end. It can switch off the Raspberry Pi as well. So let's go back in here. Okay, one of the things that the project do is once someone blocks the application, like I just did, the buzzer goes off, so you need to press the button. You can do that again. See? So we press the button, it stops. You can see the temperature now is at 19, which is still ideal. You can see the green LED is on. Now I will make the temperature go too high, so the red LED will go on. It will take just a little bit for the readings to update, but you see it. And I changed the loop. It will not be 15 minutes for now, it will be just 10 seconds. Once it reaches the high temperature, it's still at 19 now. Give it just another second. Okay, just a little bit more till it updates. It needs to warm up a little bit more. You can see the LED, the red LED is on, so about 10 seconds now in the loop. If it keeps the temperature too high, then it will trigger the buzzer again, so it will happen just in a few seconds. There you go. You stop it. You can see the temperature here, it's still too high. So again, if in 10 seconds the temperature is too high, it will trigger the buzzer again. You can see the LED still on. There you go. So once the temperature gets too cold, I have a cold glass in here. Let's keep it here. Let's give it a few seconds. I hold this just so I will not wake up the neighbors. See, that's the hot temperature. See, it already turned it off. The green LED is on because it's the ideal temperature. Just a few more seconds, it will be too cold, and you see that the blue LED will go on. So let's just give another few seconds. The temperature is still at 19 degrees. It's at 18 degrees now. It's at 17. Just 16 now. Let's just, the blue LED is on, see? There we go. Once we remove the glass, at some point to go back to the ideal temperature. That's the room temperature you have right now. Sorry, I stopped it. So the last thing I want to show you is if you want to stop the readings, you can just hit the button. Stop sensors, there you go. Sorry, it was still inside of the loop. So what I was going to show you, you can see the readings stopped now. It stopped receiving here as well. If you go in here, you can see it got the message stop publishing. So if you go back in here and you want to switch it off, just hit it. Sorry, switch it off. Sorry, you need actually to run it again because it was outside of the other loop. And there you go, it's turning off the Raspberry Pi. And that's it. Thank you very much, David. Have a good night.